Imagine waking up tomorrow. No fridge, no supermarket, no bread, no rice, no cooking oil, and definitely no pizza. You are hungry, very hungry. So what do you eat? You look around. There are plants, berries, roots, maybe some nuts. And somewhere in the distance, something with teeth is looking back at you. Because thousands of years ago, dinner wasn't delivered. Dinner could kill you, and the strangest part? Your ancestors didn't survive by eating one perfect diet. They survived by eating almost anything they could find. When you imagine ancient humans eating, you probably picture one thing: meat. A prehistoric hunter, holding a giant spear, standing proudly beside a huge animal. But that's only part of the story. For most of human history, food depended heavily on where you lived. If you lived near a river, you could eat fish. If you lived near a forest, you could eat nuts, fruits, roots, insects, and animals. If you lived somewhere cold, plants became harder to find, so animal fat and meat became extremely valuable. Your ancestors weren't following a diet plan. They were following the map. Wherever food was, you followed. Meat was important, but getting it wasn't easy. Imagine trying to hunt a deer without a rifle. You have a simple weapon. The animal is faster, and it knows you're coming. One mistake, and you're eating nothing. That's why ancient humans also relied on smaller, easier foods. Rabbits, birds, fish, shellfish, eggs, turtles, and insects. Yes, insects. Ancient humans didn't have the luxury of saying, "That's disgusting," if something was nutritious and didn't kill you. It was food. Some of the most important ancient foods weren't animals at all. They were plants. Nuts were especially useful. They're small, they don't spoil quickly, and they're packed with energy. Perfect survival food. Then there were roots and tubers. Things hiding underneath the ground. You couldn't see them, but they could keep you alive. Wild fruits provided sugar. Leaves provided nutrients. Seeds provided energy. And honey? That was basically ancient candy. Except getting it meant dealing with thousands of angry insects. Your ancestors had no supermarket, but nature had an entire grocery store. The problem? Everything was trying to hide. Here's something surprising. Early humans didn't necessarily eat everything raw. Once humans learned to control fire, food changed dramatically. Cooking made many foods easier to chew and digest. Meat became softer. Roots became easier to eat, and some plants became safer to consume. Fire also gave your ancestors something extremely valuable: time. Instead of constantly chewing tough food, cooked food could provide energy more efficiently, and that mattered, because your ancestors needed enormous amounts of energy for walking, hunting, gathering, escaping predators, and simply surviving. Dinner wasn't entertainment, it was fuel. Now things get interesting. Ancient humans sometimes ate foods that would look very strange today: shellfish, seaweed, insects, grubs, locusts, snails, animal organs, and bone marrow. Bone marrow was especially valuable. Breaking open a large bone could reveal a fatty, energy-rich meal hidden inside. Imagine finding a giant animal carcass. The meat is already gone, but the bones remain. You don't walk away, you break them, because inside, there is still food. That tiny detail shows something important. Ancient humans didn't waste many calories. If it could be eaten, someone probably tried it. Here's another surprise. Bread is ancient, but the bread your ancestors ate wasn't exactly the soft loaf sitting in a supermarket today. Early humans eventually began processing wild grains. They crushed them, mixed them with water, and cooked the mixture. Simple flatbreads appeared, but this happened much later than the earliest human diets. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors lived without agriculture. Then something enormous changed. Humans started growing food. And suddenly, instead of searching for plants, you could plant them. That sounds like an obvious improvement, but it created a completely different world. Imagine finding a wild grass. You notice its seeds are useful, so you collect them, then you plant them. Then you wait and wait and wait. Eventually, you have more seeds. Now you don't need to constantly follow wild food. You can stay in one place. Villages grow, crops grow, animals are domesticated, and human diets become more predictable. But there was a catch. Instead of eating dozens of different foods, many people began depending heavily on a few crops: wheat, barley, rice, corn. That meant food production increased, but variety could decrease. Human civilization was beginning, and so were new nutritional problems. The answer isn't mostly meat, and it isn't only plants. The real answer is much more interesting. Your ancestors ate whatever their environment could provide: meat, fish, eggs, fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, insects, honey, shellfish, and eventually grains and farmed crops. There was no single ancient human diet. There were thousands of them because there wasn't one ancient human lifestyle. There were thousands. So the next time you open your refrigerator, look at everything inside: bread, fruit, eggs, vegetables, meat, milk. Your ancestors would recognize some of it, but they would probably be shocked by one thing: you can get all of it without hunting anything. And honestly, they might consider that the strangest food technology of all. The supermarket